Welcome back to my channel, guys. My name is Ragged Rog, and today I am bringing you yet another 5 fighters that I believe should be in Smash. Now, this is not to say that I necessarily want them in Smash, it's not that I feel too strongly about it, but I believe that all things considered, we are due to have these characters in Smash, that they are probably a little more deserving, and it's a little more realistic overall that we will probably see them. Now, I'm going to take liberties with what that means. Maybe some of these ideas will be something that Nintendo has not even considered, but you let me know down in the comments what you think. So, just getting straight into it today, we are going to lead with Sans. That's right, Sans from Undertale. So, Sans, I personally don't actually know a whole lot about this character. I know that he's from Undertale, and I know what Undertale is, but I've never played it myself. That decision doesn't stem from a place of disinterest, it stems from just me never having the time or means or convenience to play Undertale. And while maybe I could have watched a Let's Play of it or something like that, I've heard a lot of people say that you want to play through this game blind because it's a great experience, and there's a lot of stuff that you want to save for your own personal experiences. So it's been, like, I know the game's been out for a long time, but getting onto the subject anyway, while my personal opinions about Sans are not really, a thing here, I've seen a lot of love for this idea. Even in past videos I've made on this same subject, there have been a lot of people who have just forwarded the idea, I want Sans. Like, they'll just say flat, like, please just put Sans in Smash. So we already know that Sans is already in Smash technically as a Mii costume, and I feel like, universally speaking, Nintendo probably does this to kind of gauge the reaction of the community. We get characters like Lloyd from Tales of Symphonia, or a whole bunch of others inspired as a Mii costume so that they can be included in a future Smash game. A good example of this would be in Smash 4, when we got the Inkling costume for your Mii fighter, and then in the following Smash game we got Inkling, which just made sense, honestly, but I feel like that the Mii costume probably had a bit to do with that as well. Anyways, I don't know much about Sans, but I know that there is a high demand for him. I've also heard that Sakurai, the creator of Smash, is on pretty good terms with the creator of Undertale, and I don't know how much truth there is in that, but it seems promising that there might be a Sans crossover in Smash in the future. Definitely let me know what you think in the comments down below. I have never seen anyone say that they don't want Sans in Smash, so definitely let me know what you think. Next on this list, this one would probably change up a few things, but I would like to see Toad in Smash as his own unique fighter. Now, the first thing a lot of people are going to think of is that both Peach and Daisy actually utilize Toad in their moveset. I believe it's their down special. No, it's just their neutral special, where they use Toad as like a kind of counter-like move, a defensive move in the game. So I'm going to say right now, while it would probably make a lot of sense if Toad were introduced as his own unique fighter, that Peach and Daisy would probably have that move changed. The thing is, though, that move probably doesn't need for much to change. It could still function exactly the same. Nintendo has a lot of clever people working for them who could probably find a way to keep that move much the same as it is now, while creating a completely aesthetic alteration that doesn't include Toad. Would Toad need to be omitted? Probably not really, because the thing about Toad is there isn't just one Toad. There's like lots of Toads. So you could feasibly have like Toad as his own unique fighter and then have a completely separate Toad, albeit aesthetically different from the fighter, just continued to be used as Peach and Daisy's special move. So I don't know, I don't think it would create that much of a fuss. Apart from that, Toad is one of the few remaining characters from the Mushroom Kingdom whose inclusion in Smash would make sense, certainly a lot more than, say, Piranha Plant did. Besides from Toad, the only other one I can think of from the Mushroom Kingdom that would do is Waluigi, and I covered him in a different video. So again, let me know in the comments what you think. Next on this list, I am going to say Decidueye. So yeah, he's a Pokemon, and yeah, we already have a lot of Pokemon, but did you know, in fact, that Decidueye was originally intended to be the Sun and Moon representative among Pokemon for Smash, instead of Incineroar. I don't know what the process was for determining that Incineroar would make a better choice, but it was actually meant to be Decidueye. I wouldn't say it was meant to be him, but he was intended. He was considered. So, and I think that Decidueye's inclusion is probably not entirely out of the question currently. I think that among Pokemon, Decidueye would probably operate quite uniquely. When it comes to like Pokemon or fighters that would be complete zoners, I think Decidueye would be absolutely that. And while when I think of zoning Pokemon, I think of maybe Mewtwo or maybe even Greninja, but I feel like Decidueye would absolutely own that niche. And if you wanted to play as a Pokemon and are also particularly good at zoning, Decidueye might be exactly what you want, because I can't see him using a lot of like up close moves like say Mewtwo and Greninja do, but I can see him using mainly zoning moves, what with his bow and using gust attack and all sorts of stuff like that. It would be very interesting to see how he is inspired in Smash. Apart from that, I just generally very much like Decidueye as a Pokemon. He's far from like one of my favorites, but out of nearly 1,000 Pokemon now, it's hard to really pinpoint our specific favorites. Suffice it to say, I like him a lot, and I feel like you do too. The next one on this list, number 4, is actually going to be Viride. Viride? I don't know how to say her name, but this character from Kid Icarus. Now, I'm going to say that it's really interesting to me the amount of love and attention that the Kid Icarus series has gotten ever since Pit's inclusion in Smash all the way back in Brawl. Now, that was quite a while ago now, but as far as I understand, Kid Icarus had not really been touched at all before that point. Like, they released a couple of games on the NES, maybe the SNES even, I'm not even sure if it made it that far. Pit didn't really see any appearances at all on a Nintendo game until Brawl. So, and then he came out, and then in the very next game we got Palutena, and then we got Dark Pit as well, and it's like, it's crazy to see how much love that series is getting, because ever since then as well, we've had Kid Icarus Uprising, and a bunch of other games come out. Like, the whole Kid Icarus mythos world, if you will, has expanded vastly, and that's not a bad thing. It's not a game that I play, but we see that we've got the main character Pit, we've got his rival character Dark Pit, and then you've got Palutena, who's kind of like, you know, his guiding figure in the games, and then we've got her counterpart, or her rival character, Viride. So I feel like Viride, included in Smash, is the obvious progression in Smash. If we are going to continue giving Kid Icarus more representation, she would be the next step, because we gave Pit his due, and then we got Palutena, and we got his rival character, so now his friend needs a rival character too, I guess. It would be interesting. We do know that Viride has also been inspired as a Mii costume, and it's like I said before, I feel like Mii costumes are introduced as a way to gauge the popularity and potentiality of adding new characters to Smash. I don't know if that's actually what Nintendo does, but if I were in charge, I would probably implement some system like that as well, to just passively get feedback all the time. So there you go. Let me know what you think. Lastly on this list, kind of a weird one, and I know a lot of people are probably going to disagree with me, but I've come up with the idea for Mii Spellcaster. Now, we already have the 3 different types of Mii fighters. We've got Mii Brawler, Mii Sword Fighter, and Mii Gunner. And they are mechanically very versatile because they have custom moves, and their aesthetics are just that. They are just aesthetic. So I'm just gonna address the elephant in the room. Technically, Sword Fighter kind of already classes into being Spellcaster, if only aesthetically, because a lot of Spellcaster characters who have Mii costumes are available for the Sword Fighter class only. So my idea would be, if we ever got a new Smash game, I would like to see a 4th Mii fighter option introduced, Spellcaster, which would completely turn the whole system on its head. So Sword Fighter would change, and the aesthetics would become more exclusive to the class. This is just an idea I've had, but one of the great benefits to this idea, I think, is that it would create a dynamic where not only do we get a whole new fighter, but we get a whole new fighter who, like the other Mii fighters, is very customizable. On top of that, I feel like this would create kind of almost a snowball effect for more and more and more Mii costumes, because more is better in Smash, I think. We like quality, but a lot of that quality comes from how much choice we have, because at the end of the day, it is a fighting game. So by giving us one more Mii fighter option, we would probably be given a dozen or so more costume options, not to mention countless combat options as well. It's hard to say how things are going to be very different or not in any future Smash game, because it's like the spirits weren't a thing in Smash 4, and then custom moves were totally a thing in Smash 4, but they're not now, except for the Mii fighters. It's really hard to say how things are going to change or not, but definitely I think there's some merit to adding a new layer to the Mii fighters, because they are what I would consider to be a staple of the Smash universe now. I made one video similar to this where somebody left a comment saying that they would like to see a uniquely Smash-related fighter, like a unique fighter made for the Smash series introduced to Smash. And while I don't think that's a terrible idea, I think the Mii fighters kind of fill that role pretty decently now, and I don't know how Nintendo would go about it. But certainly the Mii fighters, I think, are something to put more work into. They changed probably the least of all of the characters or fighters from Smash 4 into Ultimate, so I would like to see this idea expanded on a bit more in the future, in any future Smash game, because I feel like there's a lot of potentiality there. In any case, these have been yet another 5 fighters that I think would be due some representation in Smash. Definitely let me know what you think down in the comments below. Am I crazy? Am I onto something? Let me know. In any case, Ragamuffins, if you enjoyed the video today, then make sure to give it a like and subscribe, hit the bell icon, and share it with your friends. Do all of that good stuff and give me the sweet engagement that helps me expand and get my word out to the world, because it's, you know, it's fun. Anyways, thank you very much for watching the video today, guys. I will see you in the next video. Have a good one!